Every chapter in Proverbs so far has been a father speaking directly to his son, giving instruction and issuing warnings and making arguments. Proverbs 7 is different. Solomon does not just tell his son what to avoid. He sits down, looks out his window, watching a scene unfold in the street below, and describes it in real time. He becomes a narrator. What he describes is one of the most detailed, step-by-step accounts of how a person gets taken somewhere they never intended to go. This chapter reads like a short story, but this is not fiction. Solomon has seen this before, and he knows how it ends. He wants his son to see exactly what he sees before it's too late to matter. Stay with me. By the end, you'll recognize this pattern in places you are not expecting to find it. Welcome back to Proverbs for Modern Life. This is part 7 of our walk through Proverbs chapter by chapter. If you have been following along, you know that chapters 5 and 6 both address sexual immorality directly. Proverbs 7 returns to that subject, but the approach is entirely different. Instead of giving principles, Solomon tells a story. He gives you the scene, the characters, the dialogue, the moment of decision, and the ending. It is the most vivid piece of writing in the first 9 chapters of Proverbs, and it is vivid on purpose. The chapter has 5 movements. The protection that was available, the scene Solomon watches from his window, the approach of the woman, the moment the young man follows her, and the closing warning. Let's go through it. The chapter opens the same way chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 open: a father, a son, and a call to keep the teaching close. Verses 1 through 3. My son, keep my words and treasure my commandments within you. Keep my commandment and live, and my teaching is the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers, write them on the tablet of your heart. Apple of your eye, bound on your fingers, written on your heart. These are images of something kept as close as possible, not filed away somewhere, not remembered when it seems irrelevant. Constant. And then verse 4 explains why. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding your ultimate friend, that they may keep you from an adulteress, from the foreigner who flatters with her words. Sister, an intimate friend. Solomon is describing the kind of relationship with wisdom that is so close, so practiced, so familiar that it functions like a second voice in your head when the moment arrives. The protection is available. This is the first thing Solomon establishes. Before the story begins, before the young man appears, before anything goes wrong, he tells us there was something that could have prevented this. It was wisdom kept close. And this particular young man did not have it. Now the scene shifts, verses 6 through 9. For at the window of the house I looked out through my lattice and saw among the naive and discerned among the sons a young man lacking sense, passing through the street near her corner, and he takes the way to her house, in the twilight, in the evening, in the middle of the night, and in the darkness. For details in that last sentence, each one worse than the other before it. Twilight, evening, the middle of the night, darkness. Solomon is not describing someone who wandered into a bad situation by accident. He is describing someone who made a series of escalating choices to be somewhere he should not be, at a time when he should not be there. By the time it is the middle of the night and fully dark, he has already made a dozen small decisions that brought him to the exact spot. And Solomon describes him as lacking sense, not wicked, not malicious, lacking sense. He is naive, easily influenced, without the inner compass that would tell him this street, this hour, this direction. Turn around. The window detail matters. Solomon is watching, but he cannot intervene. He can only see. He can only tell the story afterward. What he is doing by narrating the scene is giving his son the vantage point he never had, the view from the window instead of the view from the street. Now the woman enters the scene, and Solomon's description of her is precise, verses 10 through 12. And behold, a woman comes to meet him, dressed as a harlot and cunning of heart. She is boisterous and rebellious. Her feet do not remain at home. She is now in the streets, now in the squares, and lurks by every corner. Cunning of heart. That phrase is the key to this entire section. What follows is not a clumsy seduction, it is a practiced one. She knows exactly what she is doing. She seizes him and kisses him and then begins to speak. And what she says in verses 14 through 20 is worth reading carefully, because it is a masterclass in how manipulation actually works. First, she invokes religion, verses 14 and 15. I was due to offer peace offerings. Today I have paid my vows. Therefore I have come out to meet you, to seek your face earnestly, and I have found you. She was just come from making offerings. She has fulfilled her religious obligations. She frames what she is about to propose as a natural continuation of a day that began with God. This is not accidental. It is a calculated use of religious language to lower his defenses and make what she wants seem sanctioned. Then she describes what is waiting. Verses 16 through 18. I have spread my couch with coverings and colored with linens of Egypt. I have sprinkled my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us drink our fill of love until morning. Let us delight ourselves with caresses. Everything is prepared. Everything is sensory. The appeal is immediate and physical, and then verse 19 adds the final element. For my husband is not at home. He has gone on a long journey. He is taking a bag of money with him. At the full moon he will come. She removes the practical obstacle. There is no immediate consequence. No one will know. There is time. He won't be back until the full moon. Everything she says is engineered to answer the objection before he raises it. This is the anatomy of sophisticated manipulation. Use familiar language to disarm, make the appeal immediate and sensory, and then remove the perceived task. She has not lied to him about anything that can be verified at the moment. She has only framed things in a way that make the wrong choice look like the reasonable one. After all of that, verses 21 through 23 deliver the result in 3 sentences. With her many persuasions, she entices him. With her flattery, she seduces him. Suddenly he follows her as an ox goes to the slaughter, or as one in fetters to the discipline of a fool, until an arrow pierces through his liver, as the bird hastens to the snare. So he does not know that it will cost him his life. Suddenly. The word is doing everything. The entire approach was slow. The flattery, the setup, and the manufactured agency, all of it took time. But the moment he follows her, Solomon uses one word, suddenly. That is because the accumulated weight of all those small escalating choices collapsed into a single instant. He did not decide at verse 23 to end up where he ends up. He decided at verse 8 to walk down that street at that hour. He decided at verse 9 to keep going as it got darker. Every yes after that was smaller and easier than the one before. The 3 images Solomon uses, the ox going to slaughter, the one in fetters, the bird hastening to the snare, have one thing in common. None of them sees the end coming. The ox does not know what the slaughterhouse is. The bird does not see the snare. And the young man does not know that it will cost him his life. Not his reputation, not his comfort, his life. The final verses pull back the scene and address the reader directly. Verses 24 and 25. Now therefore, my sons, listen to me, and pay attention to the words of my mouth. Do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths. Notice where he starts. The heart, the feet, not the street. The heart turns first. The feet follow what the heart has already decided it wants. Solomon is saying, guard the desire before you get anywhere near the street, because by the time you are on the street, the heart has already been at work. And then verses 26 and 27 deliver the weight of the whole chapter. For many of the victims she has cast down, and numerous are all her slain. Her house is the way to Sheol, descending into the chambers of death. Many and numerous. This young man is not a rare case. He is one of a long line. The same pattern, the same street, the same window, the same outlook, repeated across generations. Solomon is not warning his son about a theoretical risk. He has watched it happen. He has watched it happen right now from his window, and the young man below has no idea he is part of a pattern that stretches back farther than he can see. Proverbs 7 is the most detailed picture in the entire book of how a person gets taken somewhere they never intended to go. It is a story about sexual immorality, and it should be read as that, but the mechanism described is not limited to one category of temptation. The same structure appears anywhere someone is being led away from wisdom. The gradual escalation of small choices, the manufactured agency, the removal of perceived consequences, the sudden arrival at an outcome that seems far away at the start. Saying yes once makes it easier. 3 things this chapter gives you. First, a vantage point. Solomon's window is the view from outside the moment. The chapter is an invitation to step back from whatever path you are on and ask, where does this actually lead? Not where it feels like it leads, where it actually leads. Second, a warning about flattery. Not all flattery announces itself as manipulation. Most of it sounds reasonable and even religious. It speaks your language. It answers your objections before you raise them. The protection against it is not suspicion. It is wisdom that is already close enough to recognize the pattern. Third, a word about where the turn is. Solomon says, do not let your heart turn aside. That is earlier than you think. The practical implication is this: the time to make the decision is before the street, not on it. Before the meeting, not on it. Before the conversation, not halfway through it. Here's the question. Where you are already on the street at the wrong hour telling yourself you have not made a decision yet. This is Proverbs 7. The part 7 of Proverbs for Modern Life. Next week we're in Proverbs 8, and it is one of the most remarkable chapters in the book. Wisdom stops being described and starts speaking for herself. That one is worth coming back for. If this chapter surfaced something you needed to think through, take the time today and do not store it. Drop a comment with which detail hit hardest, the window image, the suddenly, or the closing line about her house being the way to Sheol. And share this with someone in a season where they need the view from the window and not the street. Subscribe, and I'll see you for Proverbs 8. Thank you.